Hey you guys, good morning. I've been looking at something called Basque Country, and you might already know about it, but I didn't know about it. And there's a couple of things that are very interesting about this region that I wanted to kind of point out. The Jesuit order was created by a person that lived here, was born here. Ignatius, I think, hang on a second. Ignatius de Loyola, like Loyola Marymount. And I started to think of songs, you know how I do. Raspberry Beret. Berets are what they wear as hats. And not all of them, but I'm saying what is odd is that it doesn't show up on any map and it's stateless. Okay, what does stateless mean? I've looked it up and I can't totally get it. I can't totally understand. But it's between Spain and France. And they have their own language. Remember, my parents wrote a book called The Lost Language. And this language has no roots or branches into any other language. It's their own language. Most of the people in the region have Rh negative blood or O blood. And there's some weird things when I started to look this up about this. I mean, it's beautiful and they've got quite a few Michelin restaurants. They've got one of these caves, if you've watched my channel before. And they've got some of the oldest drawings, cave drawings in the world. So not a lot is known, but the Basque people said they've been stripped of their ancestry and their heritage. So why has this country with such wonderful attributes of the people not really been able to thrive? Okay, well, I started to look into there's a huge museum here. Let me show it to you. He's gonna stand in front of it. Okay. I think this is the Guggenheim. This is you know what this looks like, right? The Disney concert hall looks exactly like this. Okay, now I'm not saying these people are to blame. But when the steel industry began, it seemed things started to change. So I started looking up the definition of steel. Okay, steel is also spelled a different way. S-T-E-A-L, steel, to steel. So a generally hard, strong, durable, malleable alloy of iron and carbon. All right, what is an alloy? It's a conductor, I believe, usually containing 0.2 and 1.5% carbon, often with other constituents such as manganese, chromium, nickel, molybdenum. I never know how to say this, but I've taken this. Copper, tungsten, cobalt, silicon, depending on the desired alloy, and widely used as a structural material. Something such as a sword that is made of steel. Remember, sword is word z as swords. A quality suggestive of this alloy, especially a hard, unflinching character. What is alloy? Okay, they show metal, but what is it? What's the definition? Because those things also could apply to, a liquid product. A metallic, solid, or liquid. Okay? So, the steel industry, something doesn't make sense about the region. Because they're mysterious in one way with the language, but also they've not been allowed to thrive and claim again and again they've been stripped of their ancestral rights. I believe the children are being taken from that region, because when I was looking into going to England, or going back to where I was supposedly born, they said if you're stateless, you can also apply. And I wouldn't know, because I've never been given my real alien file. But anyway, so a metallic, solid, or liquid that is composed of a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals, or of metals and non-metal or metalloid elements, usually for the purpose of imparting or increasing specific characteristics or properties. That is a very wide open definition. But I wonder if blood could also be an alloy. So RH negative blood, Basque region. Basques were found to have the highest incidence of Rh negative blood of any people in the world, significantly higher than the rest of Europe, even higher than neighboring regions of France and Spain. Cro-Magnon theorists point out that other places known to have been occupied by Cro-Magnon man, I guess they think that Cro-Magnon started here. But what is weird is that they're not able to they prosper, but they can't get bigger. To me, that means something's happening with the population growth. Whereas they found out about this, and the Jesuits started there, and then we've got the Guggenheim Museum there, right there, built by the same person that, this is the same design as our Disney concert hall. So here it is. It didn't show up on any maps. It's stateless, and they have a different language than this. Their language isn't a derivative of French or Spain. Many of the people who live here in the region speak French or speak Spanish, but they have their own language that is not, they don't understand where it came from. Okay. They also have this tree. Let me see if I can find it. It's like an oak tree. The food there looks amazing. I've watched many videos yesterday looking at the terrain and looking at the food. Okay, so this is the old oak tree. Tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree. Put the blame on me, right? This old song. Old oak tree. And we also have a CIA called Oak Tree. It's like Project Oak Tree. Secret spy for the NSA, Project Oak Tree. Okay, Project Oak Tree is going to be tied directly to the Basque region where this oak tree is. That is what I think. I think after looking at the children I knew that the parents could not explain where they came from, They looked like me. They had the high cheekbones and the small chin that didn't look like other people. I believe they're coming from this region, and I believe they're being taken because it's stateless. And I believe there's something about that. Now, I haven't studied all the legislation on it because I just found it yesterday. But I think this is important to look at all of their cultural, all of the things that, they had the first person that sailed around the world. The Jesuit order was started here. They had military capabilities that other people didn't have necessarily. They didn't really understand why. It could have been the way the region was, or because it wasn't located on any map. Professional Community Association Management, CIA, Oak Tree, Intrigues at Char Batia, Oak Tree, Paranormio Upload Bot. Again, Oak Tree. I've seen the word oak tree in many, 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 many documents. And I did feel at one point Christ Mass, and going to church and listening to what they said about the lambs being sacrificed as if they were Christ. Not being Christ, but as if they were Christ. I started to think about Christmas differently. Christmas is a time of giving, but it's also a time of, if somebody's not giving freely and they're taking something from somebody who is maybe by all legal definitions stateless, coming from that region. I don't know of another region that is stateless. It would be a good place for people to hide their servers, like the WikiLeaks servers and stuff, because stateless, it has a meaning. I just haven't been able to figure out what it is. So they do the projects I talk about through museums. It has to go through a museum. Property like that I talk about has to go through a museum. Okay? It just does. It has to go through a museum. And so I just started thinking about, because it's stateless, I'm just going to write the word. Right. Might be able to be taken from there more easily, because it doesn't make sense when you read about these people, why they haven't been able to get bigger as a population. I think somebody is doing something. All right. Something I found to show you. Let's see. I also wanted to show you this giant spider. Because someone had me watch a movie called Enemy that had these giant spiders in it, and they were actually bigger than this, walking over landscapes. But I don't know where that movie was filmed. It might have been filmed here, in the region of the Basque Country. Anyway, that's it for now.